90% funded by 2040 is something that has been debated among managers and finance directors for a long time. Because why? Why do you need to be 90% funded when the only reason you would need 90 or 100% funded is if we went out of business, right? It's the only time that you would have to pay out the full value of the pension at any given time. So Michael has a lot more to say, but the next slide is, it is the next slide, right?
I think so.
Okay, good. The next slide is one of the most impactful things that I think I've ever seen when it comes to discussing pension liability, and why the rule that we, collectively we, not the Village of Wheeling, all of us in Illinois have to follow makes really no sense.
Our finance director, Mr. Monteshane, gave a presentation from a researcher guy at Berkeley, Tom Seguros. He spent a great deal of time. He had a lot of slides, and he was talking about presenting to you that this man had a different theory that's contrary to the thought that's sweeping the nation right now about fully funding pensions. And he said that according to Seguros' research, that pensions did not need to be fully funded based on a model that, you know, because they're not a private company, they're not going to go out of business. And so he was sharing that with you, and I thought, well, I'll go look at, you know, Mr. Seguros and his website, and he projected onto the screen this piggy bank thing, and it was showing how if you plugged in all the variables of interest that the investments would be making, that you could fund, you know, underfund it for many, many years and not have any financial problems. And it was, you know, it was interesting to me. At one point, Village Manager Sfondilis said that he had run this, I don't know, it's like it's some sort of machine that calculates how much money would be in the fund going out. He said he put it out even 200 years if they underfunded it, if it would be, if they would still have enough money to pay it. And he said that the funding rate never went below 35%. And I was really concerned because in one of the slides that Mr. Monteshane put forth at the 2-hour, 32-minute, and 55-second part of that pension funding status the budget meeting on that Saturday morning, there's this graph. It says pension funding status average of police and fire, and it was showing all the different towns. And the point was to compare where we're doing better at funding. But then down here, it said the city of Harvey was 34.5%. And that's the one city that the state of Illinois, that the firefighters sued because it was underfunded. They actually weren't able to meet their obligations. So the comptroller seized their assets, seized their bank accounts to guarantee those employees their right to their pension. And the city of Harvey was no longer allowed to spend money how they felt according to their budget. The comptroller took control. It was a rare permission in the Constitution, and it's the first time it ever happened. So what concerned me is that Mr. Sfondilis repeatedly was saying, oh, he ran this thing, this piggy bank calculator thing a dozen times, and it never went below 35%. Well, city of Harvey, who had the state takeover, only funded at 34.5%. So that really concerned me, and it seemed he was trying to be very persuasive to convince you that we don't need to fully fund our pensions. And even Papantos had said, well, you know, if no one's going to make it, none of the other municipalities are going to be able to make this 90% by 2040 according to this new law. What do you anticipate is going to happen? And he had said he anticipated, like what had happened with the city of Chicago, that they would give until 2055 to do something. So that really concerned me, that we're not going to take that law too seriously. I don't know. I don't think the kind of advice that Village Manager Sfondilis was giving us was sound advice. That just frightens me. By the way, fire and police, they do not participate in Social Security. So if we run into trouble with that, it's not just the public employees that will have to be concerned. It's all of us, because the state would have the authority to come in and seize those assets. And I was very concerned that he was putting this through, that he even invested money in sending him to some conference to even listen to this. And what really bothered me is that Village Manager Sfondilis is in IMRF, which is, they have different rules there, state mandated, it has to be fully funded. So it bothered me.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson.
That his pension will be guaranteed, but he was willing to persuade you to underfund fire and police.
Sit down, Ms. Wilson.
I think it's a bad idea.
Thank you.